7 o'clock, do you want to go ahead and get started, and then Jerry can step in when he gets here?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
7 o'clock, Jerry Cabasco, not here yet. Kirsten Erickson,
Here.
Robert Perry,
Here.
Bruce Suffern, Annette Gudenkauf, Robert Gorski,
Here.
and Mike Densford.
Here.
Great, thank you. We have a quorum tonight.
Perfect. All right, let's move on to the next item, the approval of the March 11th, 2025 meeting minutes. Nope. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Bruce, and then I think that we have. Okay, any public comment, we'll open it up. 1, 2, 3. All right, good. All right, let's move on to available space, Tony.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. We've had available commercial space on our website for a while. It's come into different forms and morphed and improved as technology has improved. It's something that you'll find a lot of towns have, but in like I said, in various forms. Some go to a third party. Others do just like a kind of a list or spreadsheet style. Before I get too far into this, I made a note to make sure to commend our GIS department. So this is something that we work in tandem with our GIS people, because you can see it's map-based. We have commercial, industrial, and development sites. Of course, I'm not going to go through all of them, but one thing that I want to say, having been at Bartlett now for 19 years this month doing this, and even longer in some other local governments, that people look for spaces, 2 in the morning on a Wednesday sometimes, and some people look, or businesses or site selectors or brokers, they'll go through, maybe a general area or maybe a couple of different towns. And anyway, just for the record, I'm going to state that Mr. Chairman Cabasco is here. So anyway, as I was saying, and the memo states, 2 of the things I say about economic development a lot, you've all heard me say it, it's competitive and it's a team sport. Grew up playing sports and coaching, and has a lot of commonalities with the competitive nature of economic development. So communities are in a constant competition to attract investment and talent. An up-to-date and robust inventory showcases the diverse range of properties that we have available. When people, maybe about once a month, sometimes twice a month, somebody will call me. Now, there's more than 1 or 2 people a month looking at this. Hundreds and sometimes thousands of people a month looking at it. But they'll call me and say, hey, I was looking through your inventory and I saw this and I have a question about this space. One thing I want to also mention, as you see, some things, like I said, I'm not going to go through all of them, but some of them will have very specific, like the rent is $16, triple net, there's 4 vacancies right now in Town Center. Different properties have different types of information available. I went through and broke it down pretty high detail before bringing it to the EDC. You can see it shows the different size of the spaces. On this one, all the way from 2,300 square feet all the way to 4,000. So anyway, there's commercial. I want to remind you, because I went back and looked at the economic indicators that I presented to the commission, I believe it was in February, and we had a 7% commercial vacancy at that point, and we also had a 7% industrial vacancy. I will assure you both are lower as of this moment. So finding spaces isn't always real easy. There's a combination of things at play in terms of price, zoning, and of course, location. So like I said, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but I went through and found them online or called a lot of the brokers, because something else I say at a lot of meetings here, there's always people looking. I don't come here and necessarily say there's 12 looking this month or there's 6 looking, but there's always, probably have 4 or 5 businesses of various sizes looking for commercial space at this time. And even though we have, you can see different size units all throughout the village, that doesn't necessarily mean that the very one that they want, the price that they want, the location that they want is available. So, and you see this one is a recent addition to, when you're downtown, you see the dance studio next to Banbury Fair there, a few doors down, leasing out some space. Oakfield Plaza, Main Street Plaza. Anyway, most of the information is there, and the ultimate goal, again, is to have them contact us too. They have to contact us anyway for licensing, for special use permits, variances, whatever the case may be. So that's commercial space. That's an up-to-date version of what's available right now for condominium units for sale or lease in Westgate Commons office, Woodland Hills 59 and Schick. Anyway, like you said, like I said, there's a lot of spaces, and we want to present them on the inventory. So out of the 3 things I'm showing you tonight that come into our digital marketing realm, you'll call it, 2 of them are business retention oriented, but this obviously is business attraction oriented. Every so often somebody will call and the brokers aren't always even, ready to divulge who their client is or any like specific details. And a lot of times I'll just point them towards this. Usually they do call me back with, honestly, many questions, usually 2, 3, 4 rounds of questions. And as you've witnessed over the years of development here, a lot of them take, various public hearings in order to go through approvals. So I'm shifting over now to industrial space. This is something that I said just a meeting or 2 ago. Again, going over the inventory, there's almost nothing. When I started doing this map-based inventory, this was filled. This had as many at one point as the commercial did. It had like 15 spaces before I updated it, okay? And to be honest, I added this 207,000 build to suit, but we're actually already working with somebody who's pursuing that building. And this hasn't, by the way, it hasn't even broken ground. So I have it on there. There's a developer, like an institutional developer called Midwest Industrial Funds. They built one of the 400,000 square foot spec buildings in Brewster Creek Business Park that recently leased. And they acquired this other lot. They went through the process. They're the ones who are gonna build this. And without getting too deep into it, a current business that's in Brewster Creek, not Rana, what everybody's thinking, another business is looking at this building. And then the other one that's available in industrial is honestly just a smaller building that's getting divided up. This is another one we did a groundbreaking for last year. It's always fun when you see a concept plan, you go to a groundbreaking, and then a year later, here's the building starting to lease up. Next thing is development sites. Going through those, we actually have a good amount left, even though all this development we keep talking about. We basically characterize it as infill, although there are a few bigger sites like there's, you know, a 12-acre site unincorporated. I never used to put unincorporated sites on this. It was just Bartlett only within Bartlett. But we have developers looking so hard at so many unincorporated sites that are basically on the edge of the community. So like, for instance, you know, northeast corner of Route 59 in Schick, it is a future development site. We'll sit here at some point and talk about development coming there. As of now, it's not in the village. But I added some unincorporated sites. I want to kind of go all the way. This is we call this the triangle piece, by the way, that's annexing into the village. Might as well get to that now. This is going to be part of our new TIF district that we're working on in Lake Street. I talked about the TIF months ago, but then it seemed like it got put on hold. And the reason it didn't move forward as quickly as we had anticipated is for this very piece of land to annex into the village. Long story short, we reached an agreement with the owner of it to annex into the village. So it wants to become part of the TIF. I could talk forever about TIF, but the gist of it is that it'll provide some future economic incentives. That's part of what was negotiated between the owner's attorney and the village attorney and staff for them to annex into the village. So we don't have like a weird looking TIF with a 2-acre site carved out of it.
If I can ask a question,
Yeah.
is the property just to the east of that area, is that Bartlett?
Yeah, that's the Dunkin' Donuts right here.
Got it.
Yeah, that was a key, that's why I was saying this was an important, you know, we looked at everything, doing a TIF without it, and it's just, it's like, it's a good site for the next phase of development along Lake Street. And out of all those Lake Street TIF sites that we'll be talking about in the months to come, because it goes on pretty far from there, but that's a site that's had a lot of interest in it. And I just want to toggle, like I said, there's a lot of sites here, but I want to go to the very, I can move them into whatever order, by the way. It's not, it's easy to move the order. But the reason I mention that is because the one that we've been really sending out the most is this corner, the Crown commercial property. I say new to the market, comes from the listing. It's been on the market for about a year. A high-profile 6.29 acre commercial corner. And besides it, I always say this too, and I'll tell the EDC, it's not a full 6.29 of what can be developed. When developers ask about it, and we don't have a full engineering study, mind you, but Crown Development indicates that it's like close to 4 acres. The 6.9 includes the area that would have to be the access into it, and also any detention, and it will require detention. But anyway, that's the #1 site on the list. It doesn't mean it's the next one that will be developed. It's just that it's one that we feel is a high-profile corner with all these houses coming in, high-traffic intersection. So that's one that and you can see it's $2 million, so it's not a low-price site by any means. And anyhow, like I said, there's a lot of other sites. Eagles Ridge is just south of where the LaQuercio dealerships are parking their vehicles. That's another site that developers have taken a look at from time to time. We've wanted to try to get another auto dealership over there, but I don't have time tonight to go through all the snags and challenges with that, but with the new dealerships in the area, there's not many sites that size. There's wetlands there, of course, as well. So you can see that's a 20-acre site, 3.4 million. One of the bigger sites, 140. Anyway, I don't have to go through all of them, but I want to let you know that we include these in some email broker blasts that we do. Come look at a site. It doesn't mean that every inquiry I get is a great one. but it means that the information is there. If there's a day, like I said, if somebody wants to look over the weekend or the middle of the night, or when Scott or I are on vacation, and they always ask questions and come to us, just so you know. This isn't all the information. This gives them different sites to kind of look through. I should zoom backwards so I can show you. It goes through the whole, you can go to it, straight from the map too, and get kind of a sense of it in that way. So this is the updated version. You can see it's interactive. GIS does it, or put it together, and I have the ability to add photos and information to it. I'm going to bring this to the EDC. You're not going to see it every month or every other month, maybe quarterly. I'm going to do my best at keeping it up to date when something fills. The land sites don't change very often, as you might imagine, but actually when I updated this, there were a couple of developed sites still on it. What changes, of course, is the commercial space and the industrial space. Like I said, fairly soon, we might be removing this 207,000 square foot spec building. I hear there's maybe one industrial condo unit coming up in Brewster Creek. But anyway, enough about that. I wanted to share with you something. We showed it to the EDC years ago in a slightly different form when it was first put together. But that was probably 5 or 6 years ago, before most of you were, or before a lot of you were on the EDC. So any questions before I move on from that? Okay. Back to the Map Hub, and here's something that looks really sharp. And we want to start sharing this, not just me sharing it with the EDC, but we want you folks to share it as well. This has really been redone, the online dining guide. We first started doing a dining guide. Oh, thank you, Scott. We first started doing a dining guide in print form probably 10 years ago. I always made a joke every time I brought it to the EDC, because we would do it in print every year. It's one of those things that gets dated pretty quickly. If I showed you the last one we did, and once in a while somebody asks for it, I'm Xing things out, I'm writing new names in. Doesn't mean there's not a place for those printed versions once in a while, but of course you can be more nimble with this version. And I just wanted to show it to you because it was just recently redone. Our economic development staff worked with GIS staff to put it together. So the home has all the lists for, I know I hear it a lot as economic development coordinator. I'm sure you all hear it as residents and business owners and people. There's no place to eat, or there's no this, or there's no that. Next time, I'm not going to claim that every type of restaurant is in town, but next time anybody ever tells you, or either says there's no this or there's no that, or where can I go for this or that, feel free to point them to this app. I didn't count them, although I should. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Look, we have 60 places on here now. And when I started doing the dining guide, the number was in the 30s. I remember sitting here saying we have 40 places now. So you can see that number has increased. A lot of these places are newer, like Boss's Signature and Carbone Express, Cozy Cheesecakes and Culver's, and I could go down the line. Yeah, that's a good call. We have links to the websites. Oh, okay, that goes to their Facebook page. Every business doesn't have a website, but yeah. You know what, I'm gonna make note of that. That would be a good one to get. The last thing I'm gonna show you tonight is about the videos, and that's, we're always looking for willing subjects, as Commissioner Densford can attest to. Besides the home base of this, our staff went through, there are some places that maybe hit, multiple categories, but you can see, even when you just go through Mexican and Latin cuisine, we've got quite a selection here. You probably don't want me to go through all of them tonight, but you can see that it was broken down by category. And I'm impressed at how nice our GIS people made it look with the photos and the way the categories line up. And also that we just, like I said again and again, we keep adding places. It's not just replacing one restaurant with another. It's people coming up with creative ways to make use of new spaces, like 140-year-old barns, like turning, dentists, former offices and strip centers into restaurants. So we're really growing this. I'm really happy with the way this came out, and just wanted to bring all of your attention to it. I know for sure Nan gets asked that a lot at the chamber, and I would imagine some of you at your place of business also ask where to eat, although I know Bruce sends everybody to his 2 tenants, as he should.
Do you have boss on the breakfast page as well? The boss's signature?
No, I know, I'm looking for where breakfast is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's see if Boss didn't. Boss has to get added, good call. Boss just added that, I think, about a month or so ago.
I've heard good things about their breakfast.
He promotes it a lot.
Yeah, he does. His pictures of that food are like amazing. I don't know who's doing it, but
Yeah.
his pictures are.
That's a good catch. We'll add that one tomorrow to breakfast. Anytime you look at it and see something, Scott and I always say this doesn't have to be during a meeting, but I know some of you might not have known this mapping application even existed. So pizza, people say there's a lot of pizza in Bartlett, and I want to take a look fast and see. That's right, Little Caesars is a new place.
Is this on the Bartlett app too, like the township app?
Well, when you say township, I'm not sure what you mean, but it's on the village's website.
Jeez, I just had it here. I
Under
was looking to
maps?
see. Bartlett Connect? Is this on Bartlett Connect too?
It's not connected, I'm not aware of it being connected to it, but
I'm just looking on just to see if easier way to kind of push.
That's where a lot of people would go, like when they're looking for dinner and stuff like that, because you have your phone with you, so you can look on your mobile device.
I've been turning a lot of people onto that just with the construction, but I was looking now just to see if it was on here too.
Yep. Good, that's a good call, and thank you. You said turning people to the website for the construction updates, we appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
It's probably a few less calls that we got about it.
Has there been any thought about attaching, because obviously I agree with you, the print media gets outdated as soon as you print it and you get it in the office. Has there been any thought about creating a QR code that takes people directly to this?
It's another good idea.
Because I think that would be really good, and especially as we start doing all of the branding and the marketing, if you want to belong in our restaurants, here's the link to.
That's a great idea. We had it on, we actually added it. I didn't bring the last time we did a print dining guide was probably 2 or 3 years ago. Joey put it together. We did have the QR code on it, but then again, there's still a physical thing that you would have to have to see that. That's another very good idea. To be able to, maybe when we do the email blasts or put to say scan this for the restaurant update.
Or even in the Bartlett, or when
Yeah.
that comes out, when they send that out, and just have the QR code in there, looking for someplace to eat in Bartlett. We've got
Yeah, a lot of good ideas. when this came out, I think it went in the Bart letter, but it's a good thing to remind. It's an easy thing to forget, obviously, and that's a nice way. It just happens to be one of my pet peeves when people tell me there's nowhere to eat in Bartlett. That's why I always bring it up, because people will say that to me from time to time. And I've been here for a while, so I've worked with most of these restaurants at some point. So, like I said, we don't have every single category, but I mean, there's places to get sushi, and there's places to get Greek food, and there's plenty of Italian and Chinese restaurants. And anyway, we broke it down here, even fast casual.
I didn't realize we had 3 Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. To be honest, there's a 4th one that's been planned for a very long time, but it just hasn't moved forward that would be the southwest corner of the northwest corner of Schick and 59. There's, across from that gas station, there's plans on paper for a Dunkin' Donuts. They submitted plans.
Just in time for the cop on a rooftop this week.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say one thing about that, because I've engaged with Dunkin' Donuts quite a few times, besides just drinking it, with their real estate people. Their real estate director for quite a few years was a Bartlett resident. He's passed away, but so when I used to go to the ICSC convention and meet with Dunkin' Donuts, it was a Bartlett resident named Robert Stack for lots of years. And he would say that they would want to have one Dunkin' for every 10,000 people.
Wow.
And I would say, well, we're at 40,000. Where's the 4th one? You know? We have a lot of fitness. Yeah, we don't have an app yet for fitness places. But here's our dining guide. You're all aware of it now. And if anybody ever tells you there's no place to eat, or do you know of a good place where I could get something, tell them, oh, great, I'm on the EDC, and there's a dining app right on the village website.
Thank you for that, Tony. Want to go into the business spotlight videos?
Yes.
Here, Mike has got one. Woo!
Yes. Let me find which tab I'm on now. I have this most.
Mr. Hollywood, Mike. Woo!
So.
Autograph this before you leave.
So this is, like I said, we talk about in economic development, business attraction, business retention, building up your workforce, making it a business-friendly environment. One of the things that we started off with a bang a few years ago, again, working with Joey, we did like a lot of these videos. During the pandemic, it slowed, and then for quite a while, we didn't really do any. So she's not here, but we have a new staff person named Reagan who has some video production. You're nodding and smiling.
I've worked with her with Pam in the history thing. She's an amazing young lady.
So we're making use of her skills, and one of our commissioners. So we've done these at Banbury Fair, of course, might have been one of the first ones. It's probably time to do another one at Banbury Fair, because I know we did them years ago. But one of our commissioners here was, let me see if I refresh, if it comes up just sitting right there. There we go. Wait, it started. Slow down, slow down. We're going to share with you a video we just posted this afternoon. You didn't see it yet?
Well, welcome to your premiere.
Okay. This is the premiere.
Should have
Yeah,
brought
well,
popcorn.
All right, and here we go. Let me start from the beginning again.
Hi, Mike Densford, owner-operator of Lucky's Barbershop here in downtown Bartlett. We've been here since 2020, offering all services needed in the barber business, face shaves, fades, flat tops, as well as making you look good here in Bartlett. We also try and make this a great town. We are big sponsors of youth sports, activities, and other local events that take place here at our town. And we look forward to serving you here at 130 Bartlett Plaza in the streets of Bartlett.
You guys did a great job with it.
Thank you.
About 30 takes, by the way.
Yeah. I wanna show one more, but really a big thank you
Very nice.
to Mike for doing that, for participating.
And I want to say too, Mike, I think that it's really cool that with all the support, I like how you put the Raiders in there, but I think it's really cool that you are personally having your kids in front of different places that support the Raiders and talking about them. Those videos is so,
That's whoever thought, one of our board members thought of that, and I think it's
yeah.
the best money you can buy for advertising.
It actually proves that the sport parents go to those places that are supporting them, so I really think that that's been amazing. Every time I see one, I'm like.
I'm just gonna show one more because we did it recently, and this was this one? Oh, I see it. All right.
Welcome to Culver's. My name is Arish Parcha. I'm a proud owner and operator. Hi guys, welcome to Culver's. My name is Arish Parcha. I'm a proud owner and operator of this restaurant. I'm so glad I get to tell you a little bit about Culver's. So Culver's is known for our butter burgers and fresh frozen custard. Our butter burgers are fresh, never frozen, and our custard is made in small batches throughout the day. For our custard, we do vanilla or chocolate based, and then every single day we have a new flavor of the day. So today's flavor of the day is raspberry cheesecake. What a delicious combo. Some more things I want to talk to you guys about is Culver's has just now introduced our brand new thick cut bacon, which is right over here, and it is delicious. Go ahead and add it to any of your burgers, chicken sandwiches, anything you want. I promise you it'll be worth it. And then the next best thing we got is gluten-free buns. So we offer a variety of items for our guests, and this is one of them. I'm happy to announce that we have just started DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and all delivery services. So if you can't make it out to our restaurant, we'd love to get that fresh food right out to you. We have sport teams that come out, firefighters. We've done so many events. It's been a blessing to be here, part of this village, and we just look to keep that going over the next forever, I guess. Come visit us at Culver's of Bartlett. We're located at 1430 Route 59, and we're looking forward to taking care of you for your next meal. Thank you so much.
Whoops. I wanted to show some of those as something that we do that not every community does with these videos produced with staff. Really asking you to share them, like them, exponential growth and all that with your own organizations or family or friend, whatever you're comfortable with. But we do ask you to share them. And also, we're always looking for a few more businesses to feature. It's something we've been doing for a while. If I looked earlier at all our videos, you kind of go to the top of the page, and we've done 60-something videos over the years. Quite a few of them. We try to spread it around, and mostly we get retailers and restaurants, but like Mike's business, getting into the service providers, and it's just something we want you all to also know that we do, to look at, and once again, to share them with your own groups if you're comfortable doing that. And any other questions about those? Well, we have I think 3 of them in the can right now. So we visited AJB, Polish Deli. We did one for Endorphin Effect, and we actually have a few we're working on scheduling. So
Tony, would you ever think about doing one with the Chamber of Commerce, just to kind of highlight how the Chamber and the Village work together so well?
we haven't, but we certainly could.
I think that would be a nice one.
The chamber started doing meet a member Mondays,
Mondays.
and
It's been a while. Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be good. I think it just is part of our business community, showing how the village and the chamber work together, because that's not always the case in every village and chamber. So I'd love to see that highlighted as well.
Great.
I don't know if there's going to be continued maintenance on your site here, because, for example, as you were scrolling, I saw Hoot Dogs, which they're gone now, right?
Hoot Dogs is gone.
So, I mean, if there's going to be continuous maintenance on here, you might not want to keep some videos out there that aren't relevant.
Yeah, I think all that takes is hit and delete. Thank you. Good point.
Sure.
Yeah, we need to do one that's one of they do so many of their own little videos. Mo Gyros, it's a place that I actually go to about once a week. So that's a good catch, yeah. We need to get them on there instead of something you can see that was three years ago, Hoot Dogs open. Thank you.
Anything further on that? Thanks for letting us attend your premiere, Mike. I'd have brought popcorn if I knew. Oh, there we go. First drinks on Mike. Any new business?
I have two quick things on new business. I promise quick. Intersect Illinois. Look at this website. This is a state website, as you might expect by the name of it. I've been, again, doing this a long time, and Bartlett's in 3 different counties, and of course, we're in the state of Illinois. And I had mentioned a couple times already about how our industrial inventory has been basically leased up or sold. Over the years, the properties that I've had, I've only listed a few properties on Intersect Illinois over the years, and they were always industrial. Basically, all those 400,000 square foot spec buildings. When it comes to the state, obviously, you're not going to list a 2,200 square foot vacancy in an old retail strip center. They give me the opportunity to put some kind of big picture sites on it, so to speak. And what I said earlier when I was showing you the village inventory of available development sites, the Crown property is the one site so far that I've added to the state. As I mentioned, I've added things before, but years ago, and it was always industrial. I removed, as I was updating everything and bringing it to the EDC, the only things we had on Intersect Illinois were some of those spec buildings that have been purchased already. So I added the Crown site, and I haven't added anything else yet, but my plan is to, when the TIF district gets approved on Lake Street, to add that. And of course, that's not just like one development site for one user. We'll be talking about the TIF a lot probably over the years. It spans, hundreds and hundreds of feet along Lake Street, and some areas will be commercial, some will be residential. No industrial plan for this TIF, but so you'll see something I'll show a few months from now. It'll probably say something like Lake Street development opportunities or something like that. And information about the TIF and various sites within it, but kind of a general broad overview. When somebody's looking at a state website for something, they're looking obviously for something major. And usually it's just been industrial, just so you know, historically. So that's something I wanted to bring to your attention under other, that if you went on the Intersect Illinois site and you went through site selection, and that's how I got to it. I added it. A lot of the sites you see on here are like, they're all over, they're all over the state. But you would type Bartlett into there, and that's how you would come about if you wanted to look at that site. That's one thing, and there you have it, the Crown Commercial site, which I have deemed our top priority development site as of now. And then one more thing I want to add last thing is, I've been engaging with multiple cannabis dispensaries. We had one in particular that had been working on coming in for months. Without the whole long story, it's been put on hold. I've been engaging with some other additional ones now. The area's people are starting to feel like the area's even getting a little saturated, even though Bartlett doesn't have any. But I wanted to mention that I am going to register for the second year in a row, May 31st, cannabis show. The Chicago area show is held in the Schaumburg Convention Center. So I'll be out there once again doing something I never thought I would do for Bartlett, which is handing out my business card
Looking for
along with a retail center that has room for one. One of the problems is we didn't have room for one. They don't fit in a 1,200 or 2,400 square foot space. They typically want 3,000 or more square feet. The one we were looking at was pursuing 2 contiguous spaces, including one where a video gaming business was relocating, which was 2,500 square feet, plus a space next door. So they were looking to go like 3,600 square feet. So I figured I would mention that, and one of these days we're going to get one.
I have something I'd like to bring up.
Yeah.
I think it was about 6 months ago or so, Christie was here, and we had a review or discussion about the sign ordinance.
Right.
We kind of our discussion landed on the flags that are throughout our town, and most specifically, the gambling flags that are everywhere throughout our town. This weekend, I just happened to drive on Lake Street out by the shopping center out there at Oak and Lake. I think they now have 12 flags out there. And they're right near the street. And then this afternoon, I happened to drive in front of the boss's signature. And he has 6. And so I think the village either needs to tell all businesses that there are no restrictions and allow every business to turn our town into a little flag city, or do something about it. We had recommended 60 days, and then once or twice a year for 30 days for special events and sales and what have you. But I think businesses are recognizing that there's no consequence to putting these illegal signs out. And you talk about branding, and you talk about image, and you talk about cute, quaint downtown Bartlett. Nothing could be further.
especially in that space. Yeah. It is, it doesn't look.
It's
Yeah,
I've
it does
seen-
look tacky.
since that meeting, I'm sure there are 24 more signs, more flags around our town. And I don't understand why it's being allowed to happen. Because we used to have a sign ordinance that was, I had a little sign that said, local honey. And I was told to ixnay that little sign that was like this big. And I did, because it violated the sign ordinance.
After the meeting that we had here, it did go to the village board. They did read your minutes, and they did review the recommendations that you folks made. I do apologize, I forget where that landed. But we'll go back and see what decision they made. I think it might have been 90 days, but we'll review that, and we'll send you a recap of where we stand. But it did go to the board, and they did make a decision. I just apologize, I forget where they landed, but we'll review that and make sure that the business community is working within the code.
Does it also cover the number of signs, because that 6 is, yeah, so I don't know if in there it says, you know, you can have it for up to 90 days, and you can have this many feet apart, and that's it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We'll review that and we'll talk to,
Is it something that has to be generated by a complaint?
well, that's always been a question relative to code enforcement. There
I'll
are,
complain.
there are, we have 2 code enforcement officers for the 14 square miles, 42,000 residents, X amount of businesses. There are certain areas where we're not every day, all the time, that, and then there are certain complaints that are generated that create code issues. So the answer to your question is probably both. But circling back to the sign issue, we'll check on that and I'll let you know.
Thank you, Scott. Anything further from anyone? Thanks for bringing that up, Bruce. Anything else?
Tony, do you know how many acres are involved in the unincorporated land on Lake Street?
That particular site that we call the triangle piece is just under 2 acres. That was the only unincorporated piece we were looking at in relation to the TIF. All the rest of the land is within the village of Bartlett. But as you might imagine, a municipality is not allowed to put a property in a TIF district if it's not within its jurisdiction. So that particular one is a little short of 2 acres. What I will tell you is that a real lot of small used car dealerships looked at it while it was sitting out there unincorporated. But I think with it becoming part of the TIF, there will probably be something different there, something that involves creation of or building new buildings, not just using it as a lot for older cars. Nothing wrong with those, but it's an area that when it annexes in, then is subject to current village codes. And that's why it didn't become a used car lot. Because
It'll be the total acres for the whole.
the whole TIF, I don't have that in front of me. It's large. It's like over 100 acres. Yeah, it's a very complicated TIF. That's its own meeting on its own and series of meetings. There's land that's owned by the Illinois Department of Transportation. There's land that's been subject to a tax sale. One of the things that I always say about TIFs, like the 59 and Lake TIF, there's a reason that it's a TIF is because it has all these impediments to developing on the private market without some substantial public investment. And that's obviously what the TIF puts in place, the ability to do that. So if you're looking at that one site, it's just 2 acres. Looks like a good site for quick casual food to me.
And there's a public hearing on that to annex the property. I think it's scheduled for probably late June. That's still being worked on right now with the landowner. But at some point, we are hoping later this summer it is part of the village and then subsequently part of the TIF as well, like Tony said.
Anyone else have anything? Does anyone would like to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Well, that was quick. I don't know. Good luck with that one, Tony. I don't know, because it was quick. It came from everywhere. I think Nan first, and then who second? Mike. So Nan and Mike.